the United States of America, the world's most powerful nation today. But its story isn't just about the founding fathers or the revolution. It's a saga that stretches back tens of thousands of years, shaped by ancient civilizations, war, colonization, and innovation. How did this land, once inhabited by hunter-gatherers, become the global superpower it is today? Buckle up, because we're diving deep into the untold history of America. Long before skyscrapers and highways, before presidents and revolutions, there were the first Americans. They didn't arrive on ships, they walked. Scientists believe they crossed from Eurasia via a land bridge called Beringia, which connected Siberia to Alaska. This migration began over 30,000 years ago, and as the Ice Age ended, the rising ocean swallowed Beringia, cutting them off from their ancestral lands forever. Over millennia, these early settlers evolved into diverse and sophisticated civilizations. The Mississippians built towering earthen mounds larger than the Egyptian pyramids, while the ancestral Puebloans carved entire cities into cliffs. In the East, the Iroquois Confederacy developed a political system that would later inspire the U.S. Constitution. But everything changed in 1492. Christopher Columbus, sailing under the Spanish flag, made landfall in the so-called New World. But was he really the first European here? No. Nearly 500 years earlier, Norse explorer Leif Erikson had already reached North America, setting foot in what is now Canada. Soon, European powers, Spain, France, England, and Portugal, rushed to claim territory. The Spanish built vast colonies in the south, the French in Canada and Louisiana, while the British established their first permanent settlement at Jamestown in 1607. With expansion came conflict. Native American tribes fiercely resisted European encroachment, leading to brutal wars over land, resources, and survival. The arrival of European diseases like smallpox and measles devastated indigenous populations, wiping out up to 90% of some communities within decades. By the 18th century, 13 British colonies stretched along the Atlantic coast. They were thriving, but tensions with Britain were boiling over. Then came the Stamp Act of 1765, the first of many taxes imposed on the colonies. Americans protested, no taxation without representation. Then, in 1773, an act of rebellion shook the British Empire, the Boston Tea Party. Patriots, disguised as Mohawk warriors, dumped an entire shipment of tea into Boston Harbor. Britain responded with force, stripping Massachusetts of its self-rule. The stage was set for revolution. In 1775, war erupted. The following year, on July 4, 1776, the Declaration of Independence was signed, officially giving birth to the United States of America. At first, the war seemed hopeless. The British had the world's strongest army and navy, but General George Washington, with help from France, turned the tide. After the decisive Battle of Yorktown in 1781, Britain surrendered, and in 1783, the Treaty of Paris officially recognized U.S. independence. But winning independence was just the beginning. The young nation faced huge challenges: political divisions, economic struggles, and threats from powerful European empires. In 1803, President Thomas Jefferson made a bold move. He bought the Louisiana Territory from France for just $15 million, doubling the size of the U.S. overnight. But with expansion came more conflict. In 1861, America faced its darkest hour, the Civil War. The Southern states, known as the Confederacy, seceded over the issue of slavery. Led by Abraham Lincoln, the North fought to preserve the Union. After 4 years of bloodshed and over 600,000 deaths, the Union emerged victorious. Slavery was abolished, but the scars of war ran deep. The late 19th century saw a boom in industry. Railroads, factories, and cities sprang up. America was transforming into an economic powerhouse. Then, in 1898, war broke out between the U.S. and Spain. The result? America's first overseas empire, gaining Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines. As the 20th century dawned, a new challenge arose: World War I. Though the U.S. initially stayed neutral, German attacks on American ships and a plot to turn Mexico against the US changed everything. In 1917, America joined the Allies, helping secure victory. But the peace wouldn't last. The Great Depression of 1929 devastated the economy, paving the way for World War II. In 1941, Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, dragging the US into the war. American forces stormed Normandy on D-Day, fought brutal battles in the Pacific, and in 1945, dropped 2 atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, forcing Japan to surrender. The war ended, but a new Cold War began. For the next 4 decades, the US and the Soviet Union competed in a nuclear arms race, fought proxy wars in Korea and Vietnam, and even raced to the moon. A contest the US won in 1969 when Neil Armstrong became the first human to walk on the lunar surface. Back home, the civil rights movement of the 1960s fought for racial equality, forever changing American society. The 21st century brought new challenges. 9/11, the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, the 2008 financial crisis, and a rapidly changing world. But through every challenge, the US has remained a global superpower. From ancient tribes to world domination, America's history is one of struggle, ambition, and resilience. But history is still being written. What will the future hold? What do you think was the most defining moment in US history? Let us know in the comments. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more epic history content.